I froze in the hallway, my hand on the banister, as the low voices drifted from the cracked door of the guest bedroom. "We pull the switch tomorrow. Make sure you're flawless. No slips this time. Once David is out of the picture, the company's mine." Isabella's voice, my daughter-in-law's, was sharp, laced with a cold edge I'd never heard before. A man's voice replied, muffled but urgent. "And the evidence? It'll hold up?" She laughed softly, a sound like ice cracking. "It better, or we're both sunk." My heart slammed against my ribs. I backed away silently, slipping into the kitchen shadows, the Portland rain pattering against the window like accusing fingers. What had I just heard? Sabotage? Against my own son? I leaned against the counter, breathing shallow, the scent of fresh coffee turning bitter in my throat. "My name is Sofia Martinez, a 68-year-old widow who spent the last decade in this cozy brownstone in downtown Portland. My husband, Miguel, passed from a sudden heart attack 12 years ago, leaving me with our only son, David, and the quiet rhythm of urban life, morning walks by the Columbia River, volunteering at the local library, and doting on my grandson, Lucas. David is a driven tech entrepreneur, founder of a startup that's exploding in the AI space. His wife, Isabella, is the picture of ambition, a vice president at a rival firm, always in sleek suits, her dark hair pinned perfectly, exuding that polished confidence that screams success. I'd always admired her. She swept into our lives 5 years ago, a whirlwind of energy at a tech conference where David met her. They married quickly, had Lucas, and she fit right in, or so I thought. She handled the household with efficiency, cooked gourmet meals on weekends, and even joined me for yoga classes downtown. "Sophia, you're like the mom I never had," she'd say, hugging me tight. But now those words felt hollow, poisoned by what I'd overheard. That evening, as the city lights flickered on outside, I busied myself in the kitchen, chopping onions for David's favorite enchiladas. The sharp tang stung my eyes, or maybe that was the tears I blinked back. Lucas bounded in, his 7-year-old energy a burst of light, curly hair tousled, clutching a drawing of a robot. "Grandma, look what I made at school. It's like Dad's AI bots." I knelt, forcing a smile. "It's amazing, mijo. So detailed." He beamed and I hugged him, inhaling his shampoo scent, a shield against the storm brewing in my mind. Isabella entered then, her heels clicking on the hardwood. She was in her usual post-work attire, tailored blazer, pencil skirt, looking every bit the corporate powerhouse. "Smells divine, Sophia." She pecked Lucas on the head. "How was school, champ?" "Good. Teacher said my robot could win a prize." Lucas grinned up at her. She nodded absently, scrolling her phone. "That's great. David home yet?" "Not yet," I said, watching her closely. Her fingers flew over the screen. "Texting? Texting? To whom?" The man's voice echoed in my head. The switch. Evidence. David arrived minutes later, loosening his tie, his face lined with exhaustion but lit by that inventor spark. "Rough day at the office. Big investor meeting tomorrow. If it goes well, we could expand to Europe." He kissed Isabella, who smiled brightly, looping her arm through his. "Dinner's almost ready," I announced, my voice steadier than I felt. We sat at the dining table, the one Miguel carved years ago, rain streaking the bay window overlooking the neighborhood's twinkling lights. As we ate, conversation flowed, David raving about a new algorithm, Lucas chattering about recess. Isabella laughed at the right moments, but I noticed her glances at her watch. "Big day for you too tomorrow?" I asked casually. She paused, fork midway. "Yeah, client pitch. High stakes." Her eyes met mine, cool and unreadable. Was that a flicker of suspicion? After dinner, Lucas begged for a story. I tucked him in upstairs, reading about adventurous robots until his eyelids drooped. Kissing his forehead, I whispered, "Sweet dreams, little one." Downstairs, David and Isabella murmured in the living room, glasses of wine in hand. I lingered in the hall, ears straining. "I'm wiped," David said, "but tomorrow could change everything." "You deserve it," Isabella replied, her tone warm. But was it? I slipped to my room, the overheard words gnawing at me like a persistent ache. That night, sleep evaded me. The rain drummed harder, mirroring my turmoil. What was the switch? Evidence against David? My son had built his company, Apex Innovations, from a garage idea into a multi-million-dollar venture. Isabella worked at competitor firm, Summit Corporation. Could she be plotting corporate sabotage? A forbidden affair with a colleague, using some scheme to undermine David? By dawn, doubt clawed deeper. I rose early, brewing coffee, the aroma grounding me. Lucas scampered down for breakfast, and I fixed his favorite, pancakes with blueberries. Isabella emerged, dressed impeccably in a charcoal suit, briefcase in hand. Morning rush, got to beat traffic. She kissed David goodbye as he headed out, then Lucas. To me, a quick hug. See you later, Sophia. As she left, I watched her car pull away into the misty streets. Something felt off. Her perfume lingered, stronger than usual. Or was I imagining it? Mid-morning, while Lucas was at school, I tidied her home office, a sleek space with glass desk and city skyline view. I wasn't snooping, just dusting, but a file caught my eye, peeking from a drawer. Apex Projections, confidential. My pulse quickened. Why would she have David's company documents? I opened it hesitantly. Charts, emails, evidence of insider info? One printout, a memo about David's investor pitch annotated in her handwriting. Weak points, over-reliance on prototype. Exploit. I snapped it shut, hands shaking. Was this the evidence? Sabotaging his big meeting? The phone rang, jolting me. It was my old friend Sophia from the library group. Sophia, you sound off. Everything okay? I hesitated, then spilled. A fraction, the overheard whisper, the file. Am I crazy? No, mija. Trust your instincts. Dig quietly. Hanging up, I paced. David's company was his lifeblood. Losing it would crush him. And Lucas, caught in the crossfire. That afternoon, Isabella returned earlier than usual, humming as she entered. Productive day? I asked, stirring soup. Very, she smiled, but her eyes darted. Pitch went smoothly. I nodded, watching her hang her coat. The suit. Wait, was that a different blazer? No, same charcoal. But her hair, pinned up this morning, now loose waves. Trick of the light? Lucas burst in from the backyard, muddy from playing. Mom, I found a cool bug. She scooped him up, laughing. Show me. So affectionate, like always. But as she carried him upstairs for a bath, I replayed the whisper, the switch. Was someone else involved? A double? Ridiculous. Yet the doubt festered. Dinner that night was tense for me, though they didn't notice. David announced, Investor loved it. Funding's green-lit. Isabella toasted him. Proud of you, babe. Her smile seemed genuine or calculated. Later, as I washed dishes, I overheard them in the den. David, your firm's been aggressive lately. Any intel on Summit's moves? Isabella, nothing I can share. Trade secrets. I dried my hands, resolve hardening. I couldn't ignore this. For David, for Lucas, I'd uncover the truth, no matter the cost. But as I climbed to bed, a chill settled. What if the betrayal ran deeper? What if Isabella wasn't who she claimed? The rain eased, but the storm in my soul raged on. The next morning, I stood at the kitchen window, watching the fog roll in from Columbia River, my coffee cooling untouched in my mug. Isabella's whispered words haunted me like a ghost in the walls. The switch tomorrow. What switch? And who was that man on the phone? I gripped the mug tighter, the ceramic warm against my chilled fingers. David had left early for the office, buzzing about his new funding. Lucas was at school. Isabella gone to her meeting. Alone in the house, the silence pressed in, urging me to act. I couldn't just sit. I needed proof. Slipping into her office again, I scanned the desk. The confidential file was gone. Tucked away? Or destroyed? My breath caught as I spotted her laptop, lid slightly ajar. I hesitated, heart pounding. This wasn't me, snooping like some detective in a thriller. But for David, I'd cross lines. I opened it. Password prompt. I tried Lucas's birthday, number, their anniversary. Denied. Then, on a whim, her maiden name plus the year they met. It unlocked. Files sprawled across the desktop. Summit reports, emails, one folder labeled Personal. I clicked, scanning quickly. Photos, her with David, smiling at a gala. But deeper, a subfolder RK. Inside, images of Isabella with a tall, silver-haired man, arms linked, at what looked like a luxury resort. Champagne flutes, intimate gazes. My stomach twisted. Affair? The man, Robert Kane, I recalled from Industry News, CEO of Summit Corp, her boss. An email chain. Can't wait for Paris. Switch set, ? Her reply. All good. Cover in place. Paris? David mentioned no trip. I snapped photos with my phone, hands shaky. Then, a calendar invite. Investor sabotage op. Today. I closed the laptop, pulse racing. Sabotage? Against David's pitch? But it had gone well, he'd said so. Or had she failed? The front door clicked open. I froze. Isabella's voice echoed from the hall. Sophia? You home? I darted out, smoothing my sweater. In here, I called, forcing casualness. She entered, cheeks flushed from the chill outside, carrying a bakery bag. Brought croissants. Peace offering for my rush this morning. Thanks. I took it, noting her outfit. Same suit as yesterday? No, subtle difference. Yesterday's had a silk scarf. Today's a brooch. Minor, but odd. She poured coffee, humming. Long morning already. Client drama. I watched her sip. Everything okay at work? Fine. Her smile was quick, too bright. Why? Just asking. We chatted about Lucas's school play, but my mind whirred. The photos burned in my pocket. Affair with her boss, explains the whispers. But switch? Evidence? After she headed upstairs to change, I texted Sophia. Found proof. Affair? Sabotage plot. Need advice. Her reply. Meet at the cafe. Noon. I grabbed my coat, the Portland drizzle starting anew. The cafe was a cozy spot in Central Market, scents of fresh bread and espresso mingling with the salty sea air. Sophia waited at a corner table, her warm eyes concerned. Spill it, Sophia. I whispered the details, the whisper, the files, the photos, showed her my phone snaps. She's cheating with her boss, plotting against David's company. Sophia's face hardened. Corporate espionage? With a lover? That's low. You tell David? Not yet. Need more. I stirred my latte, foam swirling like my thoughts. Noticed weird things. Her mood flips. One day affectionate, next distant. Like with Lucas, yesterday all hugs. Today she barely glanced at him before school. Sophia nodded. Follow her instincts. Tail her? See where she goes. The idea chilled me. Spy on my daughter-in-law? But nods, maybe. Back home, Lucas burst in from school, backpack swinging. Grandma, we learned about robots today. Dad would love it. I hugged him, his enthusiasm a balm. Tell me all. As he chattered, Isabella descended, now in jeans and a sweater. Casual, but her hair. This morning pinned, now loose again? No time to dwell. Dinner plans? She asked, ruffling Lucas's hair. Pizza night? Lucas begged. She laughed. Sure, champ, I'll order. But as she tapped her phone, I saw it. Left hand dominant? Isabella was right-handed. Always had been. Writing notes, stirring coffee. Now, phone in left, tapping fluidly. Coincidence? Evening unfolded normally. Pizza arrived, gooey cheese and pepperoni scent filling the room. David joined, recounting his day. Prototype demo tomorrow. If it nails it, we're golden. Isabella toasted with soda. You'll crush it. Her eyes sparkled. Genuine or scheming? Lucas yawned post-meal. I bathed him, bubbles foaming, his giggles echoing. Mom read me a story last night. It was funny. Which one? I asked, toweling him. The robot adventure. She did voices. He mimicked a robotic tone. Sweet. But yesterday's Isabella, the affectionate one. Today's, distant again. Tucking him in, I kissed his brow. Downstairs, David and Isabella cuddled on the couch watching a show. I excused myself to read, but lingered in the hall. Their murmurs. David. Love you. This funding changes everything. Me too. Can't wait. Kiss sounds. I slipped away, doubt gnawing. If cheating, why the warmth? Next day, resolve set. Isabella left for work. I called a rideshare, tailing her Tesla through traffic. She didn't go to Summit's downtown tower. Instead, to a nondescript warehouse in Industrial Zone District. Industrial, graffiti tagged. She parked, entered a side door. I waited, hidden behind a truck. Minutes later, she emerged. No, wait. Same outfit, but gait different. More hesitant? She drove off. Impulse hit. I approached the door, knocked. It creaked open. A woman identical to Isabella. Same sharp features, dark hair, green eyes. But softer expression, worn clothes. She startled. "Can I help you?" I stammered, "Isabella?" She paled. "No, I'm Gabriella. Who are you?" My world tilted. Twins? Sophia Martinez, David's mom. Her eyes widened. She pulled me inside, door slamming. The space? Dim, cluttered with boxes, a makeshift office. "You shouldn't be here." "Explain," I demanded, voice steady despite the quake inside. Gabriella sighed, sinking into a chair. "Isabella's my sister. Identical twins. She hires me sometimes to cover for her." Cover? Echoes of the sample story hit, but this was real, my life. When she needs to be two places, like meetings or personal stuff. Her voice dropped. "She pays me. I'm broke, lost my job, but I don't ask details." The switch. "What personal stuff?" She shrugged. "Trips? I don't know. Yesterday I was her at home while she handled something." Yesterday's affectionate Isabella, Gabriella. Today's distant, real Isabella? Moods, hands, hair, it fit. "Why?" I pressed. "Money. Our parents split us young, adopted separately. I grew up poor. She found me years ago, offered jobs. Impersonate her." Betrayal surged. "She's sabotaging my son's company." Affair with her boss. Gabriella's face crumpled. I suspected. Saw emails once. Robert, yeah. Paris trip last month. I covered home. Proof. But more? "Help me expose her." She hesitated. "She's family, but it's wrong." Okay, we exchanged numbers. I left, rain soaking me, mind reeling. Twins. Deception. What else hid? Home, I paced. David texted. Demo smashed. Big win. Isabella, real one, returned. All smiles. Great day? But now I saw cracks. Dinner, she used right hand. Yesterday's left, Gabriella. Lucas hugged her. "Mom, story tonight?" "Of course," but her tone clipped. As night fell, my phone buzzed. Gabriella. "Meet tomorrow. Have evidence." Cliffhanger hope, but danger loomed. What if Isabella knew I knew? Sleep evaded, shadows whispering threats. The drizzle had turned to a steady downpour by the time I met Gabriella the next day. I chose a quiet cafe in the Riverside neighborhood, away from our usual haunts, artsy murals on the walls, the hum of espresso machines masking our whispers. I arrived early, nursing a chamomile tea to calm my nerves, the steam rising like unanswered questions. Gabriella slipped in 10 minutes later, hood up against the rain, her face a mirror of Isabella's, but etched with worry lines that spoke of a harder life. She slid into the booth opposite me, glancing over her shoulder. "Sophia, thanks for coming." Her voice was soft, tentative, unlike Isabella's confident clip. I leaned forward. "You said you have evidence. Show me." She pulled a USB drive from her pocket, sliding it across the table. Copied from her laptop when I was covering last week. Emails, docs, proof of the affair with Robert, and more. Plans to leak David's prototype code to Summit. My fingers closed around the drive, cold metal biting into my palm. "Why help me? She's your sister." Gabriella sighed, stirring her black coffee. "We reconnected 3 years ago. She tracked me down after our birth parents died, car accident. Said she wanted family. But it was a lie. She needed a double for her schemes. Grew up rich, adopted by a tech mogul. Me? Foster homes, scraping by. She pays me $3,000 a gig. But seeing Lucas, that kid's innocent. And David, he's kind, doesn't deserve this. $3,000. The amount rolled in my mind. No symbols, just the stark figure. I nodded, pocketing the drive. What schemes? The switch I overheard? Her code for me stepping in. While I'm at your house, playing wife and mom, she's off with Robert or sabotaging rivals. Last month, Paris. Business trip cover, but really a getaway. I handled home duties, even the yoga with you. She looked down, ashamed. I mimicked her right-handed, but slipped sometimes. Lefty's my natural. It clicked. The hand switches, moods. And the sabotage? She's feeding Summit intel. David's AI prototype? She stole specs. Robert wants to undercut Apex, buy it cheap after a failure. Rage simmered in my chest. David poured his soul into that company. Late nights, missed birthdays, for her ambition, betrayal. We expose her, but carefully. David can't know yet. It'd destroy him. Gabriella nodded. I'll help. But she's smart, if she suspects. We parted with a plan. I'd review the drive, she'd alert me to next switches. Walking home through the slick streets, puddles reflecting neon signs, I felt the weight of secrets like the rain on my coat. Home. Lucas greeted me with a hug, his small arms a reminder of stakes. Grandma, can we bake cookies? Sure, mijo. I smiled, but my mind was on the drive. After he napped, I plugged it into my old laptop in the guest room, door locked. Files unfolded. Email chains with Robert. Love the Paris memories. Prototype leak attached. Use wisely. Photos, intimate, Paris Eiffel Tower backdrop. Docs, Apex code snippets annotated, vulnerabilities here. A calendar, switch, Friday. Board meeting clash, Friday, tomorrow. David had a demo, Isabella a conference. She'd use Gabriella again. I copied everything to my cloud, heart racing. Evidence solid. But moral dilemma gnawed. Confront Isabella alone? Tell David? Involve police? Corporate theft? That evening, family dinner felt surreal. David animated about expansion. With funding, we're hiring 50 more. Europe launch next quarter. Isabella, real one, I now knew by her right-hand fork grip, beamed, so proud. But her eyes flicked to her phone. Text from Robert? Lucas chattered. Mom, you promised park tomorrow. She ruffled his hair. After my meeting, champ. Lies. I'd be watching. Night deepened, city sounds muffled by rain. I lay awake replaying Gabriella's words. Twins separated. Fate's cruel twist. Isabella got privilege. Gabriella struggle. Yet, Isabella exploited her own blood. Next morning, Isabella left early, briefcase in hand. Conference downtown. Back by dinner. Kiss to David, hug to Lucas. I waved goodbye, then texted Gabriella. It's on? Her reply, heading to your house now. Be Isabella till 5. Clever, but I wouldn't wait. I dropped Lucas at school, then tailed Isabella's car to Summit Tower, gleaming glass in the financial district. She valet parked, entered. I parked blocks away, donned a hat and scarf, incognito in the crowd. Entered the lobby, bustling with suits. Security desk. Appointment with Isabella Hale? Guard checked. Name? Sophia Martinez. Family emergency. He phoned up. Minutes later, an assistant escorted me to the executive floor. Plush carpets, views of the Columbia River. Isabella's office, minimalist, awards on shelves. She stood at the window, turning sharply. Sophia? What's wrong? I closed the door. I know everything. The affair, the sabotage, Gabriella. Her face paled, then hardened. What are you talking about? Don't lie. I pulled my phone, showed a photo from the drive, her and Robert, arms entwined. She snatched it, deleted. How? Doesn't matter, end it, or I tell David. She laughed, bitter. You think you can threaten me? David's company? Mine by rights. I built half those ideas in bed talks. Robert offers real power, merger, me as co-CEO. By stealing? Business. She stepped closer, eyes cold. Stay out, old woman. Or regret? Threat? My blood chilled. Lucas deserves better. Lucas? She shrugged. Collateral. Now leave. I stormed out, fury boiling. Back home, Gabriella, as Isabella, greeted me in the kitchen, prepping lunch. Sophia, you okay? I nodded, but confided the confrontation. Her eyes widened. She's dangerous. Robert has connections, could ruin David legally. We plotted, gather more proof, then reveal to David together. Afternoon, Lucas home. Gabriella played mom flawlessly. Park trip, swings, laughter echoing. Watching, I saw what could be, a kinder version. David returned early, surprising us. Conference end early? To Isabella. Gabriella faltered briefly, then smiled. Wrapped quick. How was your day? Good. He kissed her. I held breath. Would he notice differences? Dinner, normalcy strained for me. Post-meal, as Lucas bedded, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Back off. Or lose everything. Isabella? Hard pounding, I showed Gabriella later. She's watching. We need allies. She suggested Sophia, my friend, discreet. Next day, I met Sophia again, spilling updates. Twins? Espionage? Sophia, this is big. Get a PI? Lawyer? Too risky, but evidence here. I showed drive files. She nodded. Copy to me. Backup. Home, tension mounted. Isabella returned. No switch today. Cool as ever. Good day, Sophia? Fine. I avoided eyes. That night, overheard her on phone in office. She knows. Handle it. To Robert? Threat escalating. Days blurred. Switches continued. Gabriella covered while Isabella schemed. I documented. Moods, hands, outfits. Noticed neighbors' comments. Isabella seemed off yesterday, snippy at the mailbox. One evening, Lucas confided, Mom's weird sometimes. Hugs tight one day, ignores next. I hugged him. She's busy, mijo, but pain stabbed, innocent, caught in web. Climax brewed. David announced big board meeting Monday. Prototype reveal, game changer. Isabella smiled. Can't wait. But Gabriella texted, switch planned. She's leaking live. Plan formed, intercept, expose. Sunday, I visited Gabriella's apartment. Dingy building in Green Valley, contrast to our brownstone. She showed more. Stolen emails proving theft. Tomorrow we confront at the meeting, I said. She agreed, scared but resolute. Home, sleepless. Rain-lashed windows. Phone buzzed. You were warned. Attached. Photo of Lucas at school, alone on playground. Threat to my grandson? Fury ignited. No more hiding. Dawn broke gray. David left excited. Isabella, real, followed. Conference, again. I rallied Gabriella. Time to end this. We drove to Apex HQ, hearts pounding. Security let us in, family. Boardroom, David presenting, slides glowing. Isabella slipped in late. No, wait, that was Gabriella? Confusion. No, real Isabella entered, twin confusion peaking. David paused. Isa, you're here twice? Room gasped. I stood. Everyone listen. The trail unfolds. Cliffhanger revelation hung, truths ready to shatter. The boardroom at Apex HQ fell into a stunned silence as I stood there, my voice echoing off the glass walls that overlooked the bustling Portland skyline. David stared between the two women who looked identical, Isabella and Gabriella, his face draining of color, the presentation remote slipping from his hand. The investors shifted uncomfortably in their leather chairs, murmurs rippling like the rain streaking the windows outside. I had burst in with Gabriella at my side, timed perfectly as the real Isabella entered from the opposite door, her confident stride faltering when she saw her mirror image. Everyone, I repeated, my heart thundering but my tone steady. Listen, this isn't a glitch or a joke. Betrayal is happening right under our noses. I pointed to the USB drive in my hand. Proof. Emails, stolen code, an affair designed to sink this company. David turned to me, his eyes wide with confusion and hurt. Mom? What the hell is going on? Isabella, the real one, I could tell by her predatory glare, stepped forward, her heels clicking sharply. Sophia, have you lost your mind? Bursting in here with this imposter? She gestured at Gabriella, who shrank back slightly, her softer features betraying her nerves. Gabriella shook her head, voice trembling. I'm not the imposter. Isabella, stop. It's over. The room erupted in whispers. One investor, a stern woman in a power suit, leaned forward. Explain this, now, or we're walking. I nodded, plugging the drive into the presentation laptop. Slides shifted to damning evidence, emails between Isabella and Robert Kane, timestamps matching her conferences. See here, I said, pointing to a highlighted line. She's been leaking prototype specs to Summit. While she was supposedly at home, she was in Paris with her lover, plotting to undermine Apex for a hostile takeover. David staggered back, gripping the table. Isa? Is this true? Isabella's face twisted, a mask cracking. She laughed coldly. He really believed this nonsense? That woman's a fraud, probably hired by competitors. But Gabriella stepped up, her voice gaining strength. No. We're twins, David, separated at birth. Isabella found me years ago, paid me to impersonate her, cover her absences. I did it for the money, $3,000 each time. But I didn't know the full extent until Sophia confronted me. Gasps filled the room. David looked at Gabriella, then Isabella, as if seeing ghosts. Twins? You never mentioned a sister. Because she was useful, I interjected, scrolling to photos. Isabella and Robert, intimate in luxury settings. This isn't just corporate theft. It's personal. She's been playing us all. Isabella lunged for the laptop, but security, alerted by the commotion, blocked her. Lies! All fabricated. An older investor stood. Call the police. This reeks of espionage. David's face hardened, betrayal etching deep lines. Isa, why? She straightened, defiance flashing. Why? Because you're weak, David. Apex is a pipe dream. Robert offers real power, merger, me at the helm. You talk innovation, he delivers empires. And that kid? Lucas is a prop in your boring life. Her words hit like a slap. I gasped. Lucas is your son. She shrugged. Collateral. Now, if you'll excuse me. But David blocked the door. No, you're not leaving. He nodded to security. Hold her. As guards restrained her, Isabella snarled. You'll regret this, Sophia. Robert has lawyers. This isn't over. Police arrived swiftly, sirens cutting through the rain. Statements taken, evidence handed over. Isabella was let out in cuffs, her glare burning into me. Gabriella stayed, cooperating, her testimony sealing the case. David collapsed into a chair post-chaos, head in hands. How did I miss this, Mom? I sat beside him, hand on his shoulder. She fooled us all. But it's out now. Investors huddled, then the stern woman spoke. Impressive catch, Mrs. Martinez. We'll back Apex fully, provided no more leaks. David nodded numbly. Guaranteed. We drove home in silence, the city blurring past. Lucas waited with the sitter, oblivious. Dad, how was the big meeting? David forced a smile, scooping him up. It was eventful, buddy. I sent the sitter home, then sat David down in the living room, rain pattering softly. Gabriella had followed in her car, lingering awkwardly in the doorway. I should go. Stay, I said. He needs the full truth. Over tea, Gabriella recounted their story. Birth parents' poverty, separation, Isabella's privileged adoption, her own struggles. She contacted me after they died, offered easy money. Impersonations started small, doctor appointments, then escalated. I covered while she met Robert, stole files from your office. David rubbed his temples, the mood swings, the little inconsistencies. I thought stress. Me too, I admitted. But piecing it, hands, outfits, attitudes, it added up. Lucas wandered in, yawning. Mom? Where's Mom? David's voice cracked. She's away for a bit, champ. But Gabriella here, she's like an aunt. Want her to read you a story? Lucas eyed her. You look like Mom. Gabriella smiled gently. I do. Twins are magic like that. Come on, robot book? He nodded, taking her hand. Watching them head upstairs, I felt a pang, echoes of what could have been. David turned to me. What now, Mom? Divorce? Custody? We fight. Lawyers tomorrow. But Lucas, he needs stability. Nods. Gabriella, she's good with him. She is. Hope flickered. Days blurred into legal haze. Police investigation deepened. Robert implicated. Summit raided. Headlines screamed, "Tech espionage scandal rocks Portland." Apex stock dipped, then surged on sympathy. Isabella fought dirty from jail, slander claims, but evidence mounted. I visited her once, through glass. "Why, Isabella? We welcomed you." She leaned close. "You were easy marks, soft. But enjoy your win. It's temporary." I walked away, unshaken. Homefront. Gabriella visited daily, helping with Lucas. Baked cookies, park trips. Lucas warmed quickly. "And Gab is fun. She does robot voices better." David noticed too. Dinners, she'd join, laughs easing tension. One evening, post-bedtime, David confided, "She's like Isabella, but real, kind." I smiled. Fate's twist. But shadows lingered. Anonymous threats arrived. Letters, drop charges or else. Postmarked locally. Robert's doing? I hired a PI, discreet, ex-cop, track sources. Meanwhile, neighbors buzzed. Mrs. Kim next door saw Isabella arguing with a man weeks ago, silver hair. Shady. Clues piled. Midweek PI reported threats from a burner tied to Robert's assistant. More. He's fleeing, assets liquidating. Alerted police. Robert arrested at airport, bound for Cayman Islands. Relief washed, but scars remained. Lucas asked less about old mom, bonding with Gabriella. David filed divorce, uncontested, Isabella signing bitterly. Custody full to him, she wanted none. Post-court, celebration dinner, Italian downtown, city lights twinkling. Lucas toasted with juice. To family, Gabriella blushed as David raised his glass. To new beginnings. Hints of romance? I watched, hopeful. But drama peaked again. Isabella's bail hearing. She appeared, smug. New evidence, Sophia's framing me. Courtroom tense. Her lawyer presented forged emails. But our side countered. Digital forensics proved authenticity. Judge ruled against bail. Isabella's facade cracked, yelling, "You'll pay!" Escorted out, defeated. Home, exhaustion hit. But resilience grew. Apex thrived, new security, David innovating fiercely. Gabriella integrated, moved nearby, job at Apex in admin. Lucas called her bonus mom. One rainy night, David proposed to her on the rooftop deck, city below. She accepted, tears mixing with rain. I watched from afar, heart full. Betrayal shattered us, but truth rebuilt stronger. Yet a teaser lingered. PI's final report, hidden accounts, Isabella's secret funds. More schemes? The storm wasn't fully past. Weeks after the boardroom showdown, the Portland skies seemed perpetually gray, mirroring the fog that had settled over our lives. The scandal made waves. Tech blogs dissected the espionage, Summit's stock plummeted, and Apex emerged as the underdog hero. But in our brownstone, victory felt hollow. I watched David navigate the debris of his marriage. His once vibrant energy dimmed, like a circuit shorted out. Lucas, bless his resilient little heart, adapted with the innocence of youth, but I caught him staring at photos of old mom sometimes, his brow furrowed in quiet confusion. Gabriella became our anchor. She started part-time at Apex, handling admin with a quiet efficiency that won over the team. At home, she was a natural, helping Lucas with homework, her left-handed scribbles a quirky contrast to Isabella's precise right. One afternoon, as rain tapped the windows, I found them in the kitchen, flour-dusted and giggling over botched cookies. "Grandma, Aunt Gab made robot shapes," Lucas exclaimed, holding up a lopsided figure. I smiled, warmth piercing the chill. "Looks fierce." Gabriella wiped her hands, her eyes meeting mine with gratitude. "Thanks for letting me stay involved, Sophia." "You're family now," I replied simply, but inside doubts lingered. The PI's report on Isabella's hidden accounts, offshore, tied to Robert, hinted at deeper schemes. Embezzlement? More leaks? I kept it from David for now. He needed time to heal. That evening, David came home late, tie askew, but with a spark in his eyes. "Mom, investors are doubling down. Prototypes in beta, game changer." He hugged Lucas, who was building Lego robots on the rug. Gabriella joined us for dinner, pasta primavera, her recipe. Conversation flowed easily, laughs punctuating the meal. As Lucas yawned off to bed, David poured wine. "Gabriella, walk with me? Fresh air." She nodded, blushing. I watched them step into the misty night, street lamps casting golden halos on the wet pavement. Hope bloomed, but so did worry. What if Gabriella wasn't fully free of Isabella's shadow? Next day, I met the PI at a nondescript diner in Old Town. Steamy windows, scent of greasy fries. He slid a folder across. More dirt. Isabella's accounts, transfers of $150,000 to a shell company, linked to a hacker group. Looks like she planned a digital attack on Apex post-arrest. My coffee turned sour. To finish the sabotage? Yep, and get this, Gabriella's name pops in one transfer. Small, but there. Betrayal twisted anew. Gabriella involved? I pocketed the folder, mind racing. Dig deeper. Home, Gabriella was there, prepping lunch. "Sophia, you look pale." "Just errands." I studied her, soft smile, no guile, but doubt seated. Afternoon, Lucas's school called, parent-teacher conference. Gabriella offered to go. "I can cover." Like old times, but real. David agreed, busy with calls. I tagged along secretly, parking across the street from the elementary school, rain blurring my view. Gabriella entered with Lucas, hand in hand. Through the window, I saw her chat with the teacher, animated, engaged. Lucas beamed. But as they exited, a man approached, tall, hooded against the drizzle. They spoke briefly. She handed him an envelope. He nodded, vanished into the crowd. Pulse hammering, I tailed him to a cafe. He met another, silver hair peeking from a cap. Robert? No, too young, but familiar. Summit lackey? I snapped photos, then rushed home. Gabriella arrived minutes later, all smiles. Conference went great. Lucas is a star. I nodded, hiding turmoil. Evening, after Lucas slept, I confronted her in the kitchen, folder open on the counter. "Explain this. Transfers to you. And the man today?" Her face crumpled. "Sophia, it's not what you think." "Then what?" My voice rose, edged with hurt. She sank into a chair. "Isabella forced me. Small jobs, deliver messages, pick up cash. I needed money for rent, meds for my foster mom. But I stopped when you found out. That man today? Old debt collector. I paid him off. My money, not hers. Proof? She showed bank statements, transfers, matching, but small. $3,000 here, 10 there. I swear, no more ties. I wanted to believe. David can't know. Not yet. She nodded, tears welling. I care about him. Lucas, too. Days tensed. David and Gabriella grew closer. Dates downtown, her staying over. Lucas adored her. But the PI called. Hacker threat real. Code injection planned for launch day. Launch next week. Apex's big AI reveal. I alerted David anonymously via email. Internal leak risk, check servers. He ramped security, oblivious to source. Meanwhile, Isabella's trial loomed. From jail she sent a letter. Dear Sophia, enjoy your little victory. But family ties bind. Ask Gabriella about the real plan. Chill gripped me. I showed Gabriella. She paled. She's twisting it, trying to divide us. But seeds of distrust grew. One night, overhearing David and Gabriella in the den, "Marry me?" Start fresh. Her yes joyful. But was it genuine? Launch eve, tension peaked. David paced. Servers secure, but gut says trouble. I nodded. Trust it. Gabriella cooked comfort food, enchiladas, my recipe. Lucas helped, oblivious. Dinner toasts to success. But my phone buzzed, PI, intercept. Hacker meet at warehouse tonight, Gabriella's car spotted. Heart sinking, I excused myself. Quick store run. Tailed to industrial zone, same warehouse as before. Gabriella's car parked. Inside, shadows moved. I crept closer, peering through a grimy window. Gabriella faced a hooded figure. This ends, no more. He laughed. Isabella says otherwise. Deliver the code or your new family pays. She shoved an envelope. Fake. Tell her it's done. Blackmail? I burst in. "Gabriella!" she whirled. "Sophia!" "It's a trap." The man lunged, grabbing her. Struggle ensued. I dialed 911, yelling. Police sirens wailed, approaching. Man fled, but dropped a drive. Gabriella gasped. I was double-crossing her, feeding fake intel to expose the hackers. Proof on drive, communications. Her playing along to gather evidence. Relief flooded. Why not tell me? Afraid you'd think I was like her. Police arrived, arrests made. Hackers linked to Robert, network crumbling. Home, confessions to David. He hugged Gabriella. You risked everything. Launch succeeded. AI prototype wowed. Apex soared. Wedding plans bloomed. Small ceremony in City Park. Cherry blossoms, if timed right. But teaser. Jail visit from Isabella. One last secret, Sophia. The twins? There's a third. Shock rippled. Another sister? More deception? The web widened. The words from Isabella's jailhouse visit echoed in my mind like a distant thunderclap, refusing to fade even as the Portland rain hammered the roof of our brownstone. One last secret, Sophia. The twins? There's a third. I sat in the dim visiting room, separated by plexiglass, her smug smile lingering as guards led her away in shackles. My hands had trembled on the drive home, the city streets slick and blurred through the windshield. A third sister? It sounded like a twisted plot from one of those late-night thrillers. But after everything, the switches, the sabotage, the arrests, I knew better than to dismiss it as a desperate lie. Back home, the house felt unnaturally quiet. David was at Apex, buried in post-launch meetings, his company now a beacon in the tech world after the scandal propelled it to new heights. Lucas played in the living room, his Lego robots scattered like fallen soldiers, oblivious to the storm brewing anew. Gabriella had become a fixture, her gentle presence a soothing contrast to Isabella's sharp edges. She was in the kitchen, humming as she prepared lunch, sandwiches with fresh avocado, Lucas's favorite. I watched her from the doorway, noting the subtle differences. Her left-handed slice of the knife, the soft curl of her hair that Isabella always pinned back tightly. "Gabriella," I said, my voice low to avoid alarming Lucas. She turned, wiping her hands on a towel, her green eyes, identical to Isabella's, filled with concern. "Sophia, you look like you've seen a ghost." She set the knife down carefully. I glanced at Lucas, absorbed in his play, then motioned her to the porch. The rain had eased to a mist, the air heavy with the scent of wet earth from our small garden. I closed the door behind us. "I visited Isabella today. She said something about a third twin." Gabriella's face went ashen, her hand flying to her mouth. "What?" "Number. That's impossible. Our birth records, 2 girls. She must be lying to mess with you." But her voice wavered, a crack in her usual composure. I pulled out the letter she'd sent earlier, the one twisting facts. She mentioned family ties bind, and now this. We need to know for sure. Gabriella sank onto the porch swing, the chains creaking softly. "Sophia, after all she's done, why give her the power? We're building something good here." I sat beside her, the damp wood chilling through my jeans. "Because if there's truth to it, it could upend everything. Another sister, maybe involved in her schemes. The threats didn't stop with the hackers' arrests. Last week, that anonymous call to Apex about unfinished business." She nodded slowly, twisting the towel in her hands. "Okay, let's dig. But quietly. David has enough on his plate. We agreed to start with records." That afternoon, while Lucas napped, I pulled out my laptop in the home office, the room still bearing faint traces of Isabella's perfume, sharp and citrusy. Gabriella joined me, her fingers flying over the keys as she accessed public databases. And adoption files from decades ago were spotty, but we found their birth certificate. Twins, yes, but a footnote in an old hospital report, scanned and buried in an archive. Complications noted, third infant viability uncertain. My breath caught. Viability uncertain? What does that mean? Gabriella zoomed in, her face pale. Maybe a triplet? One didn't make it, or was hidden? We cross-referenced with their birth parents' accident reports. No mentions of a third child. But a name popped. Dr. Edward Hayes, the attending physician, now retired in Olympia. Road trip? I suggested. She hesitated. Tomorrow, after I drop Lucas at school. That night, dinner was subdued. David arrived home exhausted but triumphant. Signed a major contract today, AI integration for a Fortune 500. Apex is unstoppable. He kissed Gabriella on the cheek, a gesture that had become natural, their engagement ring sparkling on her finger, a simple band with a sapphire chosen together. Luke chattered about his day. Aunt Gab helped with my robot drawing. She made it fly. Gabriella laughed softly. With imagination, anything flies, champ. I forced a smile, but my mind raced. After bedtime stories, Gabriella's turn, her voice lilting through Lucas's favorite robot tale. I confided in David alone, in our quiet living room, the fireplace crackling. A third twin? Mom, that's insane. Isabella's playing mind games from behind bars. Maybe, but we check, for peace. He rubbed his eyes. Fine, but keep it from Lucas, and Gabriella, don't scare her. Too late for that. Next morning, after David left for work and Lucas for school, Gabriella and I drove south to Olympia, the Highway 101 highway cutting through misty forests. The retirement community was quaint, manicured lawns, seniors strolling. Dr. Hayes, a frail man in his 80s with wire-rimmed glasses, welcomed us into his bungalow, the air smelling of old books and chamomile tea. "You're here about the Hale births?" he asked, after we explained vaguely family history research. Gabriella nodded. Twins, but records hint at a third. He leaned back in his armchair, memory stirring. Ah, yes, 1980s. Poor family, couldn't afford multiples. Delivered 3 girls, identical triplets. But the third, weak lungs, low birth weight. Parents begged secrecy, gave her up quietly to a private adoption. No official record to avoid stigma. My heart pounded. Who adopted her? He shook his head. Anonymous. Wealthy couple from out of state. I never knew names. We thanked him, leaving with more questions. In the car, Gabriella gripped the wheel. A sister. Out there. What if Isabella contacted her? Used her too? Back home, paranoia set in. I noticed oddities. A car lingering on our street. Mail tampered? That evening, as we prepped dinner, Lucas ran in from the backyard. "Grandma!" A lady watched me play. Looked like Mom and Aunt Gab. Chill raced down my spine. "What lady?" He shrugged. She waved, then gone. Gabriella dropped a spoon. "Sophia." We searched the yard. Nothing. But that night, a package arrived, unmarked, containing a photo of 3 identical baby girls circled in red. Note: 3 mirrors. One shatters all. Threat escalating. I called the PI. New lead, triplet. Trace adoptions from Olympia, 1980s. Days blurred with tension. David ramped home security, cameras, alarms. Gabriella grew withdrawn, jumping at shadows. One afternoon at the park with Lucas, she texted, "Being followed. Woman, looks like us." I rushed over, finding her huddled on a bench, Lucas swinging nearby. The woman gone, but a bench note, "Join or fall." Isabella's doing? From jail? PI reported, "Found her. Name, Natalia Hale. Adopted by a tech family in Tech Hub. Works in cybersecurity. Hacker for hire. Ties to Robert Kane." Natalia, the third mirror. Involved in the digital attacks? We confronted facts over coffee that night, David pacing. "She's the hacker source?" "Why?" Gabriella shook her head. "Isabella must have found her, recruited for the sabotage. Plan formed, lure her out. I emailed anonymously from a burner. Know your sisters. Meet at Dock 5, tomorrow noon. Risky, but necessary." Next day, rain-slicked pier, tourists milling. We waited, me hidden, Gabriella visible. A woman approached. Identical features, but hair cropped short, leather jacket, piercing gaze. "Gabriella," she said, voice husky. "Natalia." Gabriella stood firm. She smirked. Isabella sent word. Said you'd betray her. Offer, join us, take down Apex from inside. Split the spoils, millions. Gabriella recoiled. No, why help her? Family. Natalia glanced around. She promised reunion. Power. I stepped out. It's over. Police know. Natalia laughed. Old lady meddles. Robert pulls strings. Bail soon. Struggle. She grabbed Gabriella. I yelled for help. Bystanders called cops. Natalia fled, but dropped a phone. Evidence trove. Texts with Isabella. Hack plans. Police raid followed. Natalia arrested at a motel, confessing under pressure. Isabella's network collapsed fully. Home, relief mingled with exhaustion. David held Gabriella. You okay? She nodded, tears falling. Now we heal. Wedding approached, park blossoms blooming. Lucas as ring bearer, excited. But resolution bittersweet. Isabella's trial, guilty, long sentence. Robert, too. At the ceremony, vows exchanged under cherry petals. I watched, tears joyful. Family rebuilt, stronger. Yet teaser, Natalia's final words in court. More mirrors out there? Who knows? Doubt lingered. Was that all? Natalia's cryptic words in the courtroom hung over me like a persistent fog, even as the judge's gavel sealed her fate. Guilty on all counts, sentenced to match Isabella's. Years behind bars for conspiracy, hacking, and corporate theft. Portland courthouse steps were slick with autumn rain as I descended them, the city's skyline piercing the gray clouds like a promise of clarity. But her parting shot, more mirrors out there? Who knows? Gnawed at me. Was it a bluff, a final jab from a defeated player, or a hint at deeper layers in this labyrinth of deception? I clutched my umbrella tighter, the wind whipping droplets against my face, as if the elements themselves urged caution. Home felt like a sanctuary rebuilt from ruins. David and Gabriella's wedding was just weeks away, the invitations sent, simple cards with cherry blossom motifs, reflecting the park venue we'd chosen. Lucas buzzed with excitement, practicing his ring-bearer walk down the hallway, his small feet pattering on the hardwood. "Grandma, will there be cake? Big as a robot?" he'd ask, eyes wide. I laughed, ruffling his curls. "Bigger, mijo, with frosting circuits." Gabriella had blossomed in our family, her once hesitant demeanor now confident. She worked full-time at Apex, contributing to the AI ethics team, a role David created for her skills in cybersecurity, ironically honed from her shadowed past. Evenings, she'd cook family favorites, tacos with fresh salsa, the kitchen filled with cilantro's sharp aroma and Lucas's giggles as he helped mash avocados. David watched her with a tenderness that healed my heart, their stolen glances a balm after the storm. But the teaser lingered. I confided in Sophia over coffee at our usual Central Market spot, the market's bustle a comforting backdrop. A fourth? Triplets were shock enough, but Natalia's words... Sophia stirred her latte, frown deepening. "Sophia, let it go. You've won. Family's whole." Am I? Threats stopped, but what if another's out there, pulling strings? She patted my hand. Hire the PI again. Closure I did. That afternoon, from the home office, I called him. Trace further. Any records of more siblings? Quads? His gruff voice crackled. Long shot. But I'll dig. Old hospital files, DNA registries. Days passed in a whirlwind of wedding prep. Dress fittings for Gabriella, a flowing gown with lace sleeves evoking quiet elegance. David's tux, tailored sharp. Lucas's minisuit, making him strut like a little CEO. I baked trial cakes, the oven's warmth chasing autumn chill, but my mind wandered to what-ifs. One evening, as rain lashed the windows, the PI called back. Jackpot, or nightmare. Hospital logs from the birth, quadruplets. 4 girls. Records falsified. Doctor took bribe to list as twins, hide 2. Third was Natalia, as we knew. Fourth, adopted by a family in Eugene. Name, Serena Hale. Grew up middle class, now a private investigator herself. Waitress by day, sleuth by night. Ties? She's been in Portland recently, hotel records. My breath hitched. Purpose? Unknown, but photos match, identical. Watch your back. I hung up, staring at the family portrait on the wall. David, Lucas, Gabriella, me, smiling, unaware. Another mirror, Serena. What role? Ally to Isabella? Or victim? That night, I tossed in bed, dreams fragmented. 4 identical women circling, whispers of betrayal. Dawn brought resolve. I texted Gabriella, "Meet me, urgent." We convened at a quiet cafe in downtown, steam from our teas curling like secrets. I showed her the PI's report. Quadruplets. Serena, here in Portland. Gabriella's cup clattered. God, Isabella knew, used her too? Maybe. Or she's hunting truth, like us. We decided, find her, protect the wedding. I used the PI's leads, Serena waitressing at a diner near the waterfront. That afternoon, leaving Lucas with a sitter, we drove there, the Columbia River's salty breeze infiltrating the car. The diner was retro, checkered floors, jukebox humming oldies. Behind the counter, her. Identical features, but hair in a practical ponytail, apron stained with coffee. She poured refills with efficient grace, her eyes, green, piercing, scanning patrons. We slid into a booth. She approached, notepad ready. "What can I get?" She froze, staring at Gabriella. "You?" "Serena?" I said softly. Her face hardened. "Who are you?" "Sisters," Gabriella whispered. "I'm Gabriella. This is Sophia, family." She glanced around, then sat, voice low. "I knew. Tracked you all years ago. Isabella contacted me first. Offered jobs. Impersonations, like she did you. I refused. Too shady. But she persisted, threatened exposure. My pulse quickened. You're in Portland. Why? To warn you." She leaned in. "Isabella's not done. From jail, she's pulling strings, hired goons for revenge, targeted the wedding, disrupt, expose more dirt. Proof? She slid a phone across, text from an unknown. Crashed the ceremony. Payment, $40,000. Chill gripped me. Who? Robert's remnants, loyalists evading arrest. We absorbed, diner clatter fading. Serena continued. I came to stop it, posed as waitress to blend, track leads. Ally, not enemy. Life mixed with urgency. Help us. She nodded. Family sticks. But we act fast. Plan hatched. Lure the threats. Use Serena as bait. Impersonate Gabriella at a pre-wedding event. Alert police. Back home, I confided in David. Partial truth, sparing quadruplet shock for now. Security threat. Extra guards at wedding. He paled but nodded. Whatever it takes. Days intensified. Rehearsal dinner at a waterfront venue. String lights twinkling over the Columbia River. Family, friends, toasted. Laughs, clinks. But tension hummed. Serena, disguised subtly, mingled as distant cousin. Mid-evening, suspicious man approached. Burly, ill-fitting suit. Gabriella? Message from Sis. Serena played along. Oh, deliver it. He leaned close. Struggle. He grabbed her arm. Chaos erupted. David lunged. I dialed cops. Man subdued by guests. Arrested on site. Confessed. Hired to plant evidence. Faked docs claiming Gabriella's complicity in original sabotage. Police raid followed. Last of Robert's network dismantled. Wedding day dawned clear. Rare sun glinting off the Columbia River. City Park bloomed pink, petals drifting like confetti. Lucas led the procession, rings on a pillow, beaming. Gabriella walked the aisle, radiant, David's eyes misty. Vows exchanged. Through storms and secrets, I choose you. I watched, tears flowing. Serena attended, introduced as sister, embraced warmly. Quadruplet revealed gentle, post-ceremony. David stunned but accepting. More family, Lucas is thrilled. Reception, dancing, cake, robot-themed for Lucas. Laughter echoed. But amid joy, a final whisper. Serena pulled me aside. Isabella's appeals, long shot. But watch for echoes, teaser of unrest. Yet for now, peace. That night, homebound, I reflected. Betrayal's web unraveled, but threads lingered. Redemption? In Gabriella's love, Serena's alliance, our bonds forged stronger. The mirrors reflected light now, not shadows. The cherry blossoms from the wedding had long since scattered, carried away by Portland's relentless winds, but the memory of that sun-kissed day lingered like a warm ember in the chill of approaching winter. I stood at the kitchen window, watching fat raindrops race down the glass, distorting the view of our garden where Lucas's swing creaked emptily. It had been months since David and Gabriella exchanged vows, months since Serena revealed herself as the fourth mirror in our fractured family portrait. The threats had ceased, the arrests finalized, and Apex thrived under David's leadership, its AI innovations making headlines for all the right reasons. Yet Natalia's courtroom whisper echoed, "More mirrors out there? Who knows?" I sipped my coffee, the bitter brew grounding me, wondering if peace was truly ours or just a fragile illusion. Life had settled into a rhythm that felt almost normal, blessedly so after the chaos. Lucas, now 8, bounded through school with tales of science fairs, his robot projects inspired by his dad's work. "Grandma, look, I programmed it to dance," he'd exclaim, demonstrating on the living room floor, his laughter a melody that chased away shadows. Gabriella, now officially his stepmom, balanced her role at Apex with family life, her gentle guidance helping him navigate questions about his first mom. She never badmouthed Isabella, instead focusing on love's abundance. "Families grow in funny ways, champ," she'd say, hugging him tight. David had transformed too. The betrayal's scars faded, replaced by a deeper resilience. He and Gabriella shared quiet evenings on the porch, hands intertwined, discussing dreams beyond the company. Travel, perhaps another child. Serena visited often, her PI skills now channeled into consulting for Apex's security team. The quadruplets' bond, forged in fire, brought unexpected joy. Sisterly brunches where laughs outweighed the past's pain. "Who knew deception could lead to this?" Serena joked once, clinking glasses. "Fate's got a twisted sense of humor." But echoes persisted. One rainy afternoon, as I volunteered at the library, shelving books, the musty scent a comforting constant, a package arrived at home, unmarked like before. Inside, an old photo album, yellowed pages filled with images of 4 identical baby girls swaddled together. A note, "Mirrors multiply. Watch the reflections." My hands shook as I flipped through, birth hospital stamps, faded handwriting noting quadruplets, Isabella, Gabriella, Natalia, Serena. No more. But the note implied otherwise. I called Serena immediately. Another threat? Or truth? Her voice crackled over the line, serious. "I'll trace the postmark, but Sophia, Isabella's appeals are dragging. New lawyer stirring pots. Could be her." We met that evening at a cozy bistro downtown, the clatter of plates and murmur of diners a shield against paranoia. Serena slid into the booth, her short hair damp from the rain. "Postmarks from a prison mail forwarder, but contents? Sourced from sealed records. Someone's digging deep." Gabriella joined us, her face etched with worry. "More sisters?" "Quince?" I shook my head. "Unlikely. But if Isabella's hinting at accomplices, mirrors as metaphors?" Serena nodded. "Possible. Her network had copycats, hired lookalikes for alibis. Remember the hackers? One mentioned reflections in interrogation transcripts." We pored over files she'd brought, police reports, emails. One stood out, a message from Robert to an unknown. "Activate the extra mirrors. Sabotage 2.0. Dated post-arrest." Chill settled. Revenge plot? "Let's assume," Serena said. "I'll monitor. You two, stay vigilant." Home, I confided in David over dinner, roast chicken, the savory aroma filling the air. Lucas chattered about school, oblivious. David's fork paused. "When does it end, Mom?" "Soon," I assured, though doubt gnawed. Days turned watchful. I noticed anomalies. A woman at Lucas's school pickup, watching from afar, features blurred by distance, but familiar. Gone when approached. David's office. Anonymous tip about internal reflections leaking code. Security sweeps found nothing, but tension mounted. One night, as wind howled outside, my phone rang. Unknown caller. Mirrors break easy, Sophia. Drop the vigilance or shatter. Click. I alerted Serena. Voice distorted. Trace? Burner, but pattern matches Isabella's allies. Climax brewed. Apex's annual gala approached. Black tie event at the Tower Landmark celebrating milestones. David insisted on attending. Can't hide forever. We prepped. Extra security, Serena undercover. Gabriella shimmered in an emerald gown, David dapper beside her. Lucas stayed with Sophia, safe. The venue buzzed, city lights sprawling below, champagne flowing. Speeches lauded David. But midway, a woman approached. Identical features, but makeup heavy, dress provocative. David? Long time. He froze. Who? Lydia, she purred. Your wife's reflection. She laughed, a sound like cracking glass. Isabella sends regards, and this. She handed an envelope. Documents claiming Apex fraud, forged but damaging. Chaos, security swarmed. Lydia resisted, yelling, "More coming! Mirrors everywhere!" Interrogation later. Hired actress, plastic surgery to mimic. Paid $15,000 by Isabella's lawyer. Funneled funds. Scandal averted, but media sniffed. Headlines, Apex haunted by ghosts? Resolution came via Serena's dig. Lawyer arrested for tampering. Isabella's appeals denied. Life sentence upgraded. Home we gathered. Family dinner, candles flickering. Lucas, no more bad moms? Gabriella hugged him. Only good ones now. David raised a glass. To unbreakable bonds. Serena smiled. And no more mirrors. But as rain resumed, a final package arrived. Blank photo frame note, room for more? Teaser lingered. Was that all? Or shadows waiting? In reflection, betrayal tested us, but love prevailed. I, Sophia, once a simple widow, became guardian of secrets. If mirrors multiply, we'll face them, together. The story you heard has names and places altered for privacy, not to condemn, but to inspire reflection on hidden truths in families. What would you do, silence for peace or confront for freedom? Share your thoughts. Every voice illuminates.